Hello everyone, Nexius here. Today we are on the 7.2 Legion PTR, and we are going to be looking at the legendary changes upcoming for 7.2. So a couple of you have been asking for my opinions on the recent changes. Some of them are very important, and I think some of you guys will care quite a lot about them. Personally, I don't really care that much, but that's only because I don't have those particular legendaries. So Kukwstsétsemc Eclipse and the Drinking Horn cover are receiving some nerfs. I know some monks aren't too upset about the Drinking Horn cover, but the Kukwstsétsemc Eclipse is a pretty big deal for most of the monk community right now. On the forums between the PTR, the monk section, there is a lot of uproar about the recent nerf to these pair of boots. So if you haven't read over on the screen already, you can see that they have nerfed it by 50%. The cost reduction on Fists of Fury has been reduced from from 2 chi to 1 chi. So on 7.1, the live servers right now, if you have these boots, your Fists of Fury should cost 1 chi. Whereas now in 7.2 on the PTR, if you were to equip them, it makes your Fists of Fury only cost 2 chi. So that 1 chi cost difference is actually quite a big deal, and I'll show some examples in a second here. So this is a pretty big nerf, not from a DPS perspective, but from a fun, smooth rotation, quality of life perspective. These boots are one of the most wanted for the Windwalker spec because of how fun it makes the rotation. Having a 1 chi cost Fist of Fury for both single target and AoE makes the spec a lot more fun in terms of what I've heard from other monks. I don't have the boots on live, so I can't really give my experiences, but based off what I've heard from dozens of monks, it's roughly the same experiences where they absolutely love these boots and they are very upset with these being nerfed. Now, one idea that I've seen a lot actually float around is a lot of monks are suggesting that they keep the boots nerfed like this, and they actually reduce the chi cost of Fist of Fury from 3 to 2 baseline. So when you actually equip the boots, it will still be 1 chi cost. So they're asking for the boots to stay the same. That's perfectly fine. They understand Blizzard wants to nerf the most wanted legendaries, so it's not a big deal if you don't get that one. Well, I got an idea. Don't have RNG legendaries. If you allow us to pick, it's not as big of a deal. And that's what happens when you make overpowered legendaries like Diablo 3. I mean, this is basically Diablo 3 copy-paste, and I'm not going to go into that. I kind of disagree with the whole entire legendary system, the way it's done these days, but I'm not going into that. That's a completely separate video. Point is, Kukwstsétsemc is being nerfed by 50%. It's going to significantly change the rotation. It's going to make a lot of people re-roll based off what I've heard. Who knows if they actually will. Wouldn't be surprised if a small portion of them actually do stick to their word and re-roll. But it is very sad to hear how amazing these boots are, the fact I don't have them, and the fact I won't be able to really experience them. So a good example here with these boots on 7.1 is Fist of Fury cost 1 chi, and the reason why that's important during burst is because if you energizing elixir, which I'll switch to now, if you energizing elixir, it will give you 5 chi to spend. That allows you to use Sun Kick, Strike of the Windlord, and Fist of Fury with the boots. But now that Fist of Fury costs 2 chi instead of 1, now you require 6 chi, which is going to force you into a Tiger Palm. So I just want to show you an example here. Touch of Death and a Windlord, Sun Kick, Tiger Palm, Fist of Fury. Now, I wouldn't have to Tiger Palm on 7.1 due to it only costing 1. So when you Sun Kick, Strike of the Windlord, that gives you 1 chi left to spend. And that's where you would Fist of Fury. And all of that fits perfectly into your Gale Burst talent or your artifact trait. So it kind of messes around with that now with this recent change. A lot of monks are not happy about it. Personally, it's kind of hard for me to care a whole lot since I don't have it. I'm really more upset that I didn't get to experience it, and this is why I really hate the RNG legendary system. I despise Blizzard for, or at least the WoW team specifically, for bringing all this Diablo 3 copy-paste RNG. It's not fun. Again, separate video, getting off topic. Point is, these have been nerfed significantly. My thoughts, I think they should actually keep it this way, maybe reduce the chi cost to 1, or here's another idea. Ascension is terrible. Replace Ascension with a cheat cost reduction to Fist of Fury. Say 2 cheat cost or 3, make it free. I don't know, maybe a Fist of Fury talent here for those that like that playstyle, and then you can redesign Katsuo's with something else that's not as big of a deal. I don't know, it's just an idea to throw out there. Most monks are suggesting baseline 2 cheat costs instead of 3. And when you get the boots, it goes down to 1, and you get to keep that playstyle, while also keeping Blizzard happy by making the boots not as mandatory. So that's the whole big deal there, in terms of the huge uproar with the changes to Katsuo's. Now, let's get to the actual legendaries over here in the bag, which we have sorely neglected for the last few minutes. So, upcoming change to March of the Legion. In 7.1, it does not have Mastery. In 7.2, you can see here it has Mastery in addition to the other two. So Blizzard's way of buffing this ring is by giving it Mastery in addition to the other two stats. Now, I think this is kind of cool because Mastery is our best stat, but personally, I would like to see this ring also increase the range of Windwalking. So this ring is very good for Windwalking here. Let's take a look at what it does in case you don't know. If you don't know, you must be a very new monk. So Windwalking allows you and your allies to move 10% faster. With the ring, it goes to 25. So let's use an example here. Let's switch my boots out real quick. Let's take a look at my movement speed. Alright, you can see that small movement speed there. And then when you equip the ring, you guys can see that difference, right? It's almost 3 times the increase. It's more than 2 times. You go from 15 to 25%. So it's a pretty big deal. Or no, you don't go from 15 to 25%. You go from 10 to 25%. There we go. So it's a pretty big increase. And keep in mind, this doesn't just work on you. This works on your entire raid. So if you're doing 20 versus 20 world PvP, mythic raiding, maybe a mythic plus, you're trying to get around really quick to clear trash, you know, a whole bunch of different stuff. It's quite valuable. The only thing that's holding it back is the fact it's only a 10-yard range increase. And because it's only 10 yards, a lot of your raid, when they're spread out on, say, Tichondrius, where you got the corrupted melee on one side of Tichondrius, you got you and the other melee on the other side of Tichondrius, you got all the melee and healers spread out for the other mechanics, not a whole lot of people are benefiting from this ring, and I think that's the issue. So what I would like to see is maybe keep the Mastery on, that's entirely up to Blizzard, but if they had to take it away, I would be okay with that. If they actually increase the range of Windwalking through this as well. Personally, I would like to see that baseline instead, but either way works. Either way, I think Windwalking needs some kind of buff, whether it's through March of the Legion itself or Windwalking. So that's just my opinion on this ring in particular. For the next legendary, we have the Hidden Master's Forbidden Touch. So in 7.0, Touch of Death could be used for a second time on a separate target within 3 seconds of the first one. In 7.1, they buffed the window you could use it to 5 seconds. Now, in 7.2, it's also going to increase the damage it deals by 40%. I kind of like this because of 2 reasons. First of all, Touch of Death, if you happen to not have a second target, that means you can only use Touch of Death once, which means this pair of gloves are completely useless. So having the 40% damage increase at least still makes it valuable against one target. So otherwise, let's say you're facing Scorpion in Nighthold, all the Scorpion spawn, or at least the one gigantic Scorpion spawns, you can Touch of Death the gigantic Scorpion, and you can Touch of Death Scorpion himself. But if that Scorpion isn't spawned, you only have Touch of Death on the boss, and that makes these gloves pretty much useless. So having the damage increase helps quite a lot. Now, the second reason I love this change is because if I get these gloves, I want to go out in the world, let's say a Warden Tower, and I kind of want to see if I can one-shot somebody with Touch of Death by itself. It would be pretty cool to glider, say we got flying in 7.2, which I'm pretty sure we will because I have flying right now on the PTR. If people are flying around and say AFK at a Warden Tower or something, I fly up to them, I glider, Touch of Death while glidering, and I watch them die to it while glidering away. That would make a very interesting video. So I can see some potential fun with this legendary buff here, so that's one thing I'm excited about when it comes to these gloves. Now for the next change here, Drinking Horn Cover, the duration of Storm, Earth, and Fire is extended by 0.4 seconds for every chi you spend. On 7.1 patch currently, it's 0.6, so they nerfed it by a little bit. And I think this is because it's the biggest DPS increase, as far as I know, besides maybe Katsuo's. It's a pretty big DPS increase currently because Storm Earth and Fire is what we run, and the longer that cooldown is up, the more DPS we do. So it's very valuable, and they, as far as I'm hearing a lot from other monks, is that Blizzard wants to nerf the mandatory legendaries, whatever ones are overperforming. They want to nerf them, and Drinking Horn Cover is one of those currently, so they are nerfing it. Nothing more else to say about it. Bit disappointing, but I'm not too upset about it. I would like to see Serenity somehow affected by Drinking Horn Cover as well. It's one of the most annoying things. If you like playing Serenity, like before 7.1 for example, and you got these, they were 100% useless. So it would be nice to see a Serenity effect in some kind of way. Maybe, if you guys remember with 7.0, Serenity would permanently reduce the cooldown on your chi spenders. Maybe they could take that, bring it back as this legendary effect. That way, if you are playing Serenity, you still get some kind of use out of these bracers. I think that would be pretty cool, to where, you know, instead of your Strike of the Windlord going back up to 20 seconds, it sticks to the 14 seconds. So basically, these bracers would be the 7.0 Serenity effect. I think that would be pretty cool to throw on these bracers in case someone like me, who isn't a big fan of Storm Earth and Fire, can spec out a Serenity and still get a benefit from these. Now for the new pair of boots here, let's take a look at these. Very underwhelming. These are the crafted boots. So I will show you guys real quick here. You can see here, crafted item. So if we take a look, each time you kill an enemy, you gain 5% movement speed for 1 minute, stacking up to 25%. At 5 stacks, while you are out of combat, you turn into a wisp, increasing your movement speed further and granting you the ability to fly. Now, I think these are very underwhelming. I think it's more of a stat stick for alts. I don't think it's that big of a deal. The big thing is probably the 3 sockets, as you guys can see there. Crit Mastery is a pretty decent stat stick as well, considering Mastery is number 1 after Agility, and Critical Strike is number 2. I don't know if that's going to stay the case in 7.2, but I assume it will. So, in terms of stats, it's a really good pair of boots for a legendary, considering it is crafted, but the effect itself seems to be very underwhelming. I'm not a big fan of the effect. Like, personally, I can't really say anything about it. I'm not a big fan of the effect at all. If it works in a dungeon or a raid where you just move super fast, again, not that big of a deal. I would rather go with the Windwalking ring and give everybody movement instead, because if you think about it, what's the point of you moving ahead of your raid if you have to stop and wait for them? So I'd rather have the ring where I give everybody that speed instead. So I don't see much value out of the effect itself here. I think it's more of an alt catch-up mechanic, if anything. So nothing too special out of the new legendary here in 7.2. Finally, we have Suffuse's Secret. This one is a passive change. So now you will always gain 10% movement speed and 3% haste. And then when you successfully apply your interrupt or whatever, you'll gain the movement speed and haste as well. So the main change here in 7.2 is that you will always gain 10% movement speed and 3% haste. That's pretty much it. Another buff to Suffuses. You know, I don't mind this at all because on my main, I have a Suffuses and I'm still currently using it because it's better than what I currently have. I could go with the cloak, but considering I do have the set piece cloak here, I only have the one piece. I don't have the other 3 here. I got the other 3 through the PTR vendor. So my current character, I only have the cloak set, and I really want the set bonuses. So to keep those, I need to keep the cloak on, which means I can't use Synedrill, I mean. And besides, Synedrill isn't that strong anymore. I prefer Suffuses for Mythic Plus. And then additionally, we have Synedaria, which is quite good, especially in 7.2 with the nerfs to Katsuo's and Drinking Horn Cover. I won't be surprised if Synedaria makes a comeback in terms of a wanted legendary. So we'll have to see. So overall, those are the legendaries. Let me know what you guys think about this review. Personally, I would like to see what you guys think. What do you guys think about the nerfs? I know some of you guys were asking my opinions. I'm not too upset about them because personally, I don't have the bracers and I don't have the boots. So it's kind of hard to be upset when I don't have them. But I am a little bit upset because I hear so many good things about the boots themselves and I did not get to experience it. So it kind of sucks not having that smooth rotation. I think about the 1 chi cost and it just sounds amazing, and I don't have that. So it's kind of hard to actually picture it and miss it when I don't have it in the first place. But for all the monks out there who are in a lot of pain with this nerf, I'm sorry guys. I don't know what else to say. Let me know what you guys think about these changes. What do you think about the buffs? What do you guys think are going to be the next legendaries? Because currently in 7.1, Drinking Horn Cover and Catsuals are the top two that you want. So with those two being nerfed, do you think they will stay competitive? What do you think are going to be the wanted two legendaries at this point? Kind of curious to see what you guys think. I have absolutely no idea, to be honest. I won't be surprised if it's Synodaria and maybe Hidden Masters for those cleave fights. Nighthold isn't going to matter that much by the time the damage buff comes in, so I'm not really sure personally. I think Synodaria is going to be one of the top two, though, considering. We'll have to see, though. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye.